when considering the question about when creating a lesson plan, what key components need to be there to make sure that learning is achieved, three things come to mind. The first one being feedback. We have of course, me, the teacher, saying, hey, here's how things are. Here's how it happened. Here is what we are learning today. But okay, now we need to have some type of dialogue between myself and the students to hear from them so that I can gather, kind of rate the level of understanding that's there based on what I've taught. The second thing that needs to be implemented into the lesson plans is giving students a chance to absorb what's being taught. So some quiet time, some individual time, some reflective time for the student to be able to maybe regurgitate in writing what they have learned or think about it and ponder how it might affect them in real time. And that's the third thing. Anything that's taught, I also like to draw parallels to real life, to current events, things that can be touched or seen by the student in today in their life right now, because I know growing up in education, that's always something you thought, well, when am I going to use this in life? So those three things, we want to make sure that we have a dialogue to be able to make sure that there's an understanding there, give students time to reflect on what they've learned, and then also being able to correlate between what's being taught and what's out there in the real world right now. When you think about using technology, incorporating that into how we teach today, it's one of those never-ending cycles of what can be, because it's so new. So for starters, I want to go with the obvious, which is you talk about an app like YouTube, where so much video is out there to help reinforce what I may have said, and that's something that's also, again, a common denominator because most of my students are already using YouTube. So if I can go to where they are and say, hey, let's go to YouTube, which is what I know you love, let's take a look at something that again reinforces, maybe we're talking about the Constitution, let's take a look at that on YouTube. Then we also, there's so many, the app world is more than a $1 billion industry. So definitely other apps that can be implemented. We talk about video. I think video is incredibly important in the classroom because with video, we can Skype somebody in. We can create videos at home to use to then, as far as you make that an assignment to create a video that I can then watch you speaking to kind of get a gauge even on your public speaking skills, things of that nature. The opportunities are endless. That's one area that I'm looking to learn more about how we can use technology to incorporate learning in the classroom. When I think about how we'll be able to differentiate from different types of learning styles to meet, the diverse way that students like to learn, I understand that there are several different types of ways people learn, whether it be audio, visual. Some people like to be hands-on, work in groups as an individual. So we'll make sure that we have various assignments that help to pinpoint or highlight which skill set each student needs. Now, I know watching a video and writing something based on that video may not be for all students, so all assignments won't be made that way. We'll be able to measure how well somebody is learning by having several different types of assignments, several different types of ways to challenge them. More or less, another thing that I like to do again is listen. So I'll give my students a chance to tell me what works for them, and within reason, we try to implement what the majority is needing. And then of course you're gonna always have to spend extra time with people who need special attention, and that's something I'm used to. That's something I welcome because I believe everyone can be productive. So that's one of my core philosophies about learning and teaching, is that everyone can be productive. And it's up to me as the teacher to find that productive point for the students. So we will definitely alter how I teach to make sure that we're using different mechanisms to get the point across. When I consider the types of strategies that I'll be able to put into play to make sure that we create a positive and an active learning environment, first of all, my classroom is a place of stability and strength. That's the overall vibe that I give off to students and what they'll see as they walk into my room, because I want them to be able to trust that I'm not just a Mr. Brisby, but a person. So I'm also really big on being relatable to students, whether it be from the types of music we share, or whether it be just the cultural experiences, or being able to see them as more than just students. So that human element is what I truly use. And also, my personality is really something that I always have. I give off a certain energy that when I walk in the room, it creates a positive vibe, and we use that to build trust, and then build and create the type of results that we want to get to. Having expectations is also a very big thing for me, because we want to make sure that we know what the standard is. When I consider my experiences and skills that have prepared me to teach, the main thing for me is the experience that I went through my actual practice of utilizing education to get from where I was to where I wanted to be in life. That's the primary experience, because that's going to be the common denominator that I'll share with students, that, hey, what you're dealing with now in high school, and even some of maybe the outside distractions, whether it be just various challenges that we face in life on a day-to-day basis. I face those. And then in working with young people, as I have with my after school program, Team Shift, working one-on-one and really learning the way that new youth are learning and how they want to be dealt with. My primary skill set is being a good listener, because what I do is I like to listen, take in as much information as possible to then help draw conclusions. So for me, I'm going to say my personal education experience to go along with the fact that I'm a really good listener. That's what really helps me to be a visionary leader.